feel like it's two promising Terrans of the North American scene that are just in very different headspaces right now.
All right, well, in the bottom left from the Platinum Heroes, our blue Terran, Vindicta.
And up at the top right from Alpha X, it is our red Terran player, Future.
All right, I've got the real important. No,
you
go ahead.
I was gonna make a really dumb joke about how I used to call him Young Money Future, but now he's
stupid. So it's.
Oh no, I want to hear your question because my thing was also stupid.
Who wins a fight between the Platinum Heroes bird and the Alpha X Dragon Drake thing?
I mean, you're asking a biased party because I think dragons are really cool. I think dragons win those fights, but
the Platinum Hero bird has leveled up a lot. Like, it's got like metal wings and everything. It's made of platinum, man. Like, this ain't no normal bird.
It's a fair point. I'm having to like pull up the Platinum Heroes bird right now because I'm actually like I don't have all the logos in my game. You have all the nice stuff in your game set up. I'm still just like pulling it up. But you're right. It is made of metal and everything.
It looks a lot fiercer than the Alpha X Dragon. Like the Alpha X Dragon is just like, oh, I'm having a little one stretch, and the Platinum Heroes bird's like, I'm coming to get you, mate.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm looking at a large version of it. Inside of like like a web browser and stuff, and I don't actually think it's that big. I think it's a very intimidating bird for its size. So it's like if that bird was in a fight with, I don't know, like a cat or something, I'd give the bird a good shot on that.
But counter
if the bird
argument,
is in a fight against a dragon,
but the Alpha X Dragon doesn't exactly look big either. It's like a little baby.
I'll
Drake
give you that. Well,
I'm very unsatisfied by this answer. I don't know where we're at. Like you're just like, dragons are cool, man. I'm like, okay, if you're a dragon, way to answer the question as boringly as possible.
Okay. If you want to go down that route, then I'll say that a bird can be pretty effective when it's going for the 2-Rex opening, and you know the dragon is not quite prepared to deal with it just yet.
Yeah, this is a T-Rex, obviously just in base. But you're going to have two Reapers here. Oh, but Future gets the catch, and Vindicta keeps his Reaper moving forward. He could have saved that Reaper, actually. This could have been 0 for 0.
Yeah.
But Vindicta loses one, and that's a real shame, because he's the player that's meant to be aggressive off the 2-Rex, and now he won't find anything. Obviously, the 2-Rex in base is safe against a proxy. Ideally, you can still get a little bit of something done if it isn't a proxy, but this just did not work out well at all. And now you're kind of the play without a factory done, and, well, a much later factory done, so you don't have a Hellion. He does get a good first shot here. Grenade to help. Oh, he's just losing Reapers, man. This is a great start from Future.
Yeah, Future is going to have to turn around over here and try to evacuate out as he bends corners. This is where it does get dangerous, and you start to take a bit more chip damage on those Reapers. Nice grenade delays Vindicta. And here's actually another thing I think is really important to note about these players. I do think Future, just straight up micro-wise, I do give him an edge against Vindicta in like early game and maybe even like the beginnings of the mid game. I think as the game goes on, I've always had a lot of confidence and faith actually in Vindicta, like late game. Specifically, I think of like not TVT late game, but like the other matchups. But even TVT, I think that Vindicta has really good army control when it comes to big maxed out armies. So I do think it's kind of interesting that Vindicta's the one that goes for this kind of more aggressive playstyle. He ends up diving on in, but you can see that at the end of the day, Future has still not even lost 2 workers yet, and he's cleaning up the entire armies here.
Well, kind of. This is just an experience. Oh my god, he goes for the SCV in the end. Okay, that was wild. Yeah, just the extra couple of units showing up from Vindicta really helping out, but man, that was his army. That's it. It's gone. And now you've got a medevac, a Marines and tank going across the map, and this is not going to be fun for Vindicta to defend against. A Future immediately counter-attacking, and honestly, I like the setup he's got here.
40, unit, before units pop out, unit tab.
Look at
Vindicta's Look at Vindicta. It's 30 SCVs and 1 mule. Now there's a Marine. That's it.
Yeah. This tank should go straight in the main, man. Straight in the main, no chilling. He does as well. I love it. The Cyclone does show up, but we can unlock that Cyclone by lifting up the tank, and now SCVs are pulling in, and they have to as well. Like, this is the right call. Reaper shows up for some extra damage. Now we're finally going to leave. I mean, 6 workers is already great. Going to go to the low ground, and at this point, you may be able to siege the tank here as well. I mean, the medevac got locked onto. If the medevac got locked onto, I would have liked to see the tank siege, maybe. But either way, 9 workers killed. We continue to trade decently. We might lose the tank. We've lost the medevac, but the worker kills are huge, and Future is super far ahead at the start of this game.
Yeah, I mean, to even add to that, Future still has even a tank back at home because he didn't go for any Cyclone or anything. So he's actually even fine on like tank count, marine count, Raven. Future has all of those other tools. The only thing he's maybe lacking is, you could argue, like the Cyclone, which does have some utility and everything. But Future killed all of those workers, got a solid lead in economy, and still is not really behind after throwing away his entire army there to get that damage done.
How do you like the 3rd CC being behind the gold? I think that's what he's doing, right, with his SCV? Like, what else is he going to do? Tell me.
Proxy starport?
Maybe just a depot for, like, vision up this left-hand side would be the much more boring answer. But
yeah.
I want to believe in the gold.
I also think that there's an okay chance of that, because like they already have starports. It'd be really weird to get a second starport right now, but like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm preparing for North American shenanigans.
Well,
so.
That's the thing. If this was Europe, I'd be like, oh, he's sending a scout and SCV out at a bit of a weird timing. But this is America, so I instantly go to the craziest resolution possible, which is building the CC behind the base. Man, you know what it was? I just noticed his camera flicked there. I was like, what are you going over there for? And I saw him click there. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, bro, is this really... Like, you're in a great position. You're in a lead, and your thought process is, hey, what if I take the gold? What if I take my 3rd base on location behind the gold?
I want to note for people why this is so ridiculous, because I'm going to say 3 reasons for it. 1, you're obviously missing the gas geyser. 2, you need more workers to saturate it, because the minerals normally concave around your command center. They're convex away from his command center. And 3 is we do have a weird almost passing of the night of these 2 armies in the center. Okay, got to be really careful about that, Future, because, you know, there's a Cyclone out there on the map, but it looks like he will get away safely. 3rd is, why did he need to take it on the wrong side in the first place? Is he worried about like Vindicta sending a scout to that side but not actually seeing the other side of the mineral line?
I actually think it's more likely it gets scouted on this side, because if you drop up the left side, you just see it. Whereas, I do think it's more likely.
You know what I would have gotten more?
What?
If he had taken Vindicta's gold base.
Is that not Vindicta's
Then
gold
you take
base?
it on the outside, and I think that actually makes sense to me.
How do you tell which gold base is whose, though? Could be anyone's at this point.
What? The bottom right-hand one is definitely Vindicta's, right? That's the one that's way close.
Not if you expand upwards. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but do you expand upwards in this matchup like that?
Yes, to the TVT,
Okay,
who knows? Yeah, hold that thought and hold that game, because we might hold to the Raven. No! Ooh, actually got matrices off. What the hell? Okay. Well.
Yeah, there are so many interference matrices off, but right now Vindicta is the one that is way later to siege up any of his siege tanks there and gets into a much worse position. And now Future has full control of the natural Vindicta. I mean, he's 40-50 supply ahead at this point after all of those workers end up falling. Future has such firm control of this game. You know what that means, Wardy? That means that gold base will survive.
I was going to say, do you really believe it's because of the workers he killed, or do you not think it's because of the gold base he's taken? Clearly it's that.
It's absolutely because of the gold base that he's mining from, like, inefficiently with no gas.
I thought so. Good to hear you admit it. Yeah, Vindicta's pretty dead. He is down, out, and GG, and Future gets a super solid lead. The opening of Vindicta did absolutely nada and actually worked against him. He like just constantly took damage when he really didn't want to be taking damage, losing the Reaper, and then the follow-up and all of that stuff. GG's, and Future goes up by a game. I'm impressed because obviously I really looked at Vindicta the other day playing TVT against Dolan, I believe it was, and I was like, man, he is really good. Like, he played like a really solid first game, and the second game he got ahead, he played against Mech, and it kind of felt like he was letting the game go, and he had the sickest 360 surround. If you didn't catch that highlight, then you obviously don't look at our StarCraft, because there's the only StarCraft content on there in the last week. So it was so like he was really, really good in TVT, like in my eyes. And Future just yes, he got ahead early, Future, and maybe that's what he needs to get the edge. But he played it out really well, right? I mean, apart from the gold base and all that, but like he really took the moment in this fight. He counterattacked after killing the initial units. Like a lot of the core concepts, apart from the gold base. Brilliant. So, really cool first game from Future. Yeah. Excited to see game 2.
Yeah, me as well. And again, I really want to go back to the fact that I think I was saying, I believe a lot more in Future's early and mid game, not like because I think that Vindicta is a bad player or he doesn't have a good early mid game. It's just that I think that that's literally where, if you had to say strength of a player of Future or strength as a player for Future, it's his early game, it's his mid game, it's his micro. It's a lot of that kind of quick split second decision making that I think Future's quite good at. So it doesn't surprise me that in a matchup where I will say in other regions like Europe, TVT will oftentimes go maybe a little bit longer and stuff. In North America, TVTs I feel like are actually oftentimes still a quick matchup. It doesn't surprise me to see Future getting a bit of an edge here.
Well, clearly right now the Drake is beating up on the bird. There's in the bottom left, our red Terran.
And up here in the top right-hand side of the map, we have our blue Terran player. He is Vindicta. That bird is getting melted, man. Melted by the fire of the dragon. I mean, if you think about it, the Alpha X dragon, it's kind of like a fiery Phoenix dragon, right? So it makes sense. Just the heat of it, it's melting the steel.
I was wondering how it would actually go in terms of like, can you actually melt platinum, and whether a dragon could. But turns out there's no solid evidence of how hot dragon breath is.
I feel like we started going down like this weird chemistry route of like, I was wondering what is the boiling point temperature or like the liquidation point temperature for platinum, and after looking it up on the periodic table, I discovered that a dragon's breath is in fact okay and hot enough.
Well, platinum melts at 1,768 degrees C, which is very high. So
but, okay, we're in the Americas region, Wardy. You need to convert that to Fahrenheit. Come on, man.
I mean, sure, it's 3,200 Fahrenheit. Like that makes it any more relatable. Yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah.
That's really hot.
It's
dude.
really hot.
Holy
And
cow.
apparently, based on some fictional novels that have stated the breath temperature of dragons, not all dragons can melt the melt platinum. A lot of dragon breath is seen to be 1,500 to 2,000 Fahrenheit. So actually, if you made a shield of platinum, you'd probably still burn behind it, but your shield would stay together.
Okay, here's the thing though that I've learned from watching a lot of there's like those YouTube channels where it's like primitive technology. It's just like a dude in the wilderness doing random like technology related things and creating furnaces, is that depending on the circumstances of how you're adding the fire and stuff, you can make things a lot hotter. If you're like in an enclosed space and you just keep adding more fire.
Okay,
so, I don't know.
Why
man.
would the dragon be in an enclosed space fighting a bird?
Because they're doing a contain on the base, of course. Isn't that what TVT is all about? That's what he did at the end of that last game. He contained him.
He did not contain him. He literally dropped tanks in his base. There's nothing containing about that in the world. That's the worst contain I've ever seen because it was too good to be a contain.
He contained him to a 0-game score lead. There we go. All right. Checkmate, atheists. I win. And I do want to quickly address the fact that we do have the game openings and stuff opening on up, and it overall is actually looking like it's a 1-1-1 setup with a command center for both players, slightly differently timed and stuff, but it is going to be kind of interesting because Future is the one that gets way more aggressive this game. And, well, yeah, Vindicta just didn't really make a lot of the early game Hellions and stuff this game.
Yeah, he really went a little bit greedy as... Ooh, a Hellion splash obviously could be big here. Good micro back on that Reaper. Still chasing the Hellion. As the other Reaper's also microing. Oh my god, Future's a god! What a legend. Holy crap, that was sick. He did lose some SCVs on the other side, but he cleans that up too. Wow, what a god. That was sick.
Yeah, he lost some SCVs to the other side. I think to the Reaper that was on the other side of the map that was doing a bit of damage. But Future is going to be so thrilled about how this is overall gone because he's going to get full scouting information. These Reapers are still alive and being annoying right now. They're going to be able to kill off at least one more worker, if not two. There's another low health SCV in here as well. Is he going to target fire down? Oh, he doesn't get it.
He's not a god. He has weaknesses. Yeah, it's still awesome though. I mean, great damage done. He did need to do some damage because, as you can see, he's done all this damage and he's only 4 workers ahead, which obviously, considering how much was done, you might have expected that to be much, much higher than what it actually is. So, yeah, very cool, and just going to be seeing our game then, continuing onward, and future ahead, but not quite as ahead as he was last time after the other game.
Yeah, I think he did end up investing into like his economy a little bit later than Vindicta, which is why he needed to get some damage done. But I guess the next step here is that Future is not done yet. He wants to continue to do additional aggression, and he did go for the Banshee opening. There is a Raven out. There's also a Cyclone out here for Vindicta. So in a sense, he has all the tools he needs to just like push this back very, very quickly. But he's definitely going to end up losing at least 2 or 3 workers over here, maybe actually a bit more, because some of the SCVs are still softened up from earlier.
Yep, I mean, you actually have to use the Matrix to stop this damage being done, and you're not even going to kill the Banshee. Oh, maybe the Viking does get in range. Nope, Banshee gets out alive. Pain for Vindicta. I mean, just a few more SCVs, Future taking a lead, and based on how Future played the lead in the last game, I'm terrified for Vindicta, because Future had 0 chill in the last game. He was living up to the chance of melting platinum, because he was on fire. And he was hot.
Yeah.
All that. You guys got the reference. It took me a while to figure out what I was going to say.
He is heating the smelt and melting the platinum at roughly a temperature of 3,073 degrees Fahrenheit, or whatever it was. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm on board with this. I'm on board with this metaphor.
It was just dragged out.
Dragoned out. Yeah.
So funny.
Dragoned out.
I got it. I got it.
Get it?
That's why I said you're so funny. I literally gave you confirmation that I understood, and you had to say it again.
Nothing's funnier than ensuring that everyone got the joke.
I'm gonna do the observer thing right now, where I type in the chat, where I type like my real feelings, because you can't see it.
Yeah, I can't see anything that you're typing. I don't have a preview or anything. Oh no. I do fully agree with you though. It is not Future's nature to have chill. I think especially whenever I watch him play TVT, it doesn't matter like how the European TVT meta has developed and how we get these really wild like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 base games going to like 25 minutes and these holdout things of Spirit versus Hero. It's like Future and a lot of the North American Terran players just like, yeah, I was okay with the 2 base era of TVT. Let's keep going with it. It's a lot of fun and it's very active. Interference matrices on these siege tanks is going to ensure that Future just dominates this fight.
Yeah, tanks just didn't really get to do anything at all. We can kill this last one as well. SCVs!
SCVs!
Oh, they got it! Let's go, SCVs, only in Americas! That was legitimately 2 SCVs killing a tank, still in the fight because there was a cyclone and everything involved. I mean, come on, you can't make this stuff up, man.
Workers rise up in America, taking them out.
Why was there even workers here, by the way? This is not a push you're building bunkers with. What?
Yeah, I think he does it sometimes to just literally have it for the repair on a siege tank, so that like if 2 siege tanks are hitting each other at the same time, he repairs up his tank a little bit, and then it ends up winning out in the battle. And it's like such an old school way of doing it, but you're absolutely right. He had to get a bit of value from it, and he did. So
he did indeed. Well, you know what? He's got a Raven cast still available. We'll see what he wants to do with it. Looks like he's going to work toward the main base in general here. His opponent actually doesn't have vision, so he's going to be able to just go after that tank straight away. Drops double auto turret instead. He does not have the Viking count, though, so this is not super pretty from Future. He's killing 7 SCVs because there's a Banshee that came back in and had a good time as well. It's nice, but I feel like it could have just been a little bit easier if we just went at the front, right?
That one Marine was just working its way on that one Viking in the air. And yeah, now the high ground vision is gone, I think. So a Future has to evacuate out. But he's still, even now, the Banshee's getting more damage, I think, right now. He's got 9 more workers. And at Future, he's just continuing to find additional damage here and there. It is just worth mentioning, though, that despite like worker losses, despite a lot of these other like tank losses and everything, Vindicta is hanging in there. And he even has now the Liberator over here to join with the air superiority control. But I think the only thing he's really lacking right now is severely is like the Marines, but he has Liberators, he has Vikings, he has a decent number of siege tanks, and even his worker count is actually pretty even.
It's a bit of a shame the Future just flew those 2 Vikings in uncontrolled, because he could have killed the Lib, which was what forced the tanks back, and just could have made his life a little easier. There was another Liberator anyway, but the one that was there would have already been dead, so would have been kind of nice. Anyways, Future still has the army supply lead, I think, is the main thing, but you know, TVT is a struggle to end games, and especially when your opponent has air control, ending games can be difficult. And you can see Future, he's like, man, I'm done. Like, I want to end this. So he's actually building another Raven already. So not just moving across the map, but adding another one of those units that potentially gives you the chance to break these positions. He's just going to add another one too. He wants to keep the Raven count up, even though you generally don't do that again until much later on when you add like 2 more starports and really play for air control. Because every time he builds a Raven, it's going to get a cast or 2 off, but then it's immediately going to get shot down by Vikings. So it's a big investment. It's basically saying, hey, I'm going to be able to win the game with this push and use this Liberator and not care about it dying, because it's going to be a one-time thing.
No, absolutely. And Future is just trying to find some kind of angle over here, but he's just has not been able to find anything so far. And I think this is, again, like, it's really is Future's style. He just refuses to kind of back off, and I think this is like peak Future a lot of the time. And sometimes it can really work out well and like a momentum gets built. But I think against, again, players like Vindicta, who I think have a very strong late game, sometimes it does start to feel like you're just hitting a hard wall, and it's, like you said, difficult to actually end the game.
That sends Tower down. Obviously, so much control, taking a 4th base. There's a couple of Hellions running by the other side of Vindicta, who is going to take a note out of Dolan's book. This is what Dolan did to him last week on Ancient System. He was like, I'm behind in the early game, going to play mech to get back into it. And mech is a fantastic way to get back into the game. And knowing Future and seeing what he's setting up to do, he looks like he wants to just wrap around and try and win the game right here and now. I'm not sure if that's the right call, man. I know that's Future's style, but I think the defense might be a bit too much from Vindicta, and yeah, I'm not convinced right now. The Ravens are just going to go through the missile turrets, and apparently we are going to commit into the natural. We're clumping up, though. There's more tanks ready. All of this for siege tank and 2 missile turrets, man.
I guess we'll get a couple more siege tanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But now the Vikings land on these 2 siege tanks, and Vindicta kind of gets to strike back. And now, for the first time, I think since maybe like minute 2.5, Vindicta is actually ahead in supply. And it's actually a fair lead in army supply as well. Like, it's another 10-15 army supply with a mech player.
This is why you play mech, because the Terran players don't like playing long games. And so they're just going to throw their armies away into you, and you're back in the game and back in the lead. The air control was big for Vindicta to survive to this point, but this was Future just going one too many times forward. The Ravens gave themselves up, super expensive, and, you know, he had the setup to do whatever he wanted, and he could have just gone, you know, and taken, like, you know, he's already on 4 bases, he could have just delayed the 4th of his opponent, taken extra starports, and just played into a very healthy, like, Sky Terran count himself with, like, a lot of Vikings and Ravens, and then I genuinely believe you get into a very good position. The problem is, just doing what he did there was just giving up bio units for no reason, and now you're rebuilding bio units to probably try and do something similar, and you get caught in this endless circle of just doing the same thing that probably isn't going to work. And yeah, Vindicta, I mean, I love it for Vindicta, because I do not see any sign from Future that he's going to stop, like, you know, taking this mech army kind of seriously, because he's just going to disrespect it and just try and run on in. Well, we'll see if disrespecting the mech works out. This time it is going to. He overwhelms. Not enough over here from Vindicta, and this base is not a planetary yet, so he can continue to fight for a little while. Vikings landing becomes expensive also. This actually turned out to be a much better fight for Future. Wow, yeah, I mean, that's the weakness of mech. If you're not positioned well, you get punished hard.
Yeah, and Future is the epitome of committing to whatever kind of aggression he's going to go for. So if you are out of position, he really finds a way, an opportunity to punish you. And suddenly now, yeah, Future is the one that's going to be leading up about 20 supply after also sniping off a very important 4th base. And a key thing I think is different about like from the earlier portions of the game is that Future takes all those trades and stuff, and he does lose most of his army. But this time he's at 90 workers and has 5 bases, now reducing his opponent down to 3 bases. And well, this planetary fortress is going to cover a little bit against the Hellion harassment. Not 100%, but mostly covers it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't lose any SCVs, which is fine, and just take a couple units to go clean that out. So, yeah, Future keeping the momentum up. 2-2 finishing for him, so he'll maintain an upgrade lead, which means when he throws bio units at the mech army, he'll do a little bit more before they die in the same amount of time. Because the armor, I don't think, really makes any difference in these bio units, but the attack upgrade maybe helps you grab a tank here or there. So we have ourselves a couple of Ravens. I don't think I've ever seen a Raven get blown up by a Widow Mine. But that will be one of those times. We did get double Matrix off, and there's only one tank that's left sieged here. And the Thors go down, and again, the Marauders showing the power. That's going to be enough. GG's. Future does get it done.